the siren sounds and the Cats are smiling.
It's Sunday morning, the morning after. I thought I'd sleep on this and wake up and not be as reactionary. Yet here I am on a Sunday morning in a worse mood, to be honest. I'm trying to call my mother. She's not answering. We're playing phone tag so far. She's a Geelong supporter as well. So trying to rub the salt into the wounds, I reckon. But here we are, round 9 review. Collingwood's 54-point loss to Geelong Saturday night at the MCG. Oof. Big motherfucking oof on this Mother's Day. And it doesn't feel any better. With this game, funny thing for me was at halftime, besides failing to convert our set shots and Geelong just scoring every time they got inside 50, I didn't think there was anything wrong. Just our failing to convert and Geelong converting everything. I just thought to myself, there's no way Geelong's going to keep this up for a full game. And at some point, Collingwood's going to convert their chances. Up until half time, I just thought there was nothing wrong. I know we were down for the majority of that first half and for the entire game for that matter, but up until halftime, didn't think anything wrong, didn't think much of it. And then the second half happened. Darcy Moore fails his HIA and all systems crashed. And this is not because of Darcy Moore being out with a concussion. That's his third concussion, by the way, in 18 months. Round 24, 2024. Vertigo symptoms against Brisbane, Easter Thursday. And now this against Geelong. So something to think about there for Darcy Moore and the medical staff. So we'll have at least 2 changes for next week. And you'd think, based off performances, there'd be a few more selection changes. But if you watched the VFL and if you checked out my VFL reports and the mentions of the stats involved, best player for us in the VFL was Charlie West. He's a key forward. Jack Buller has his best game for Collingwood at AFL level, and Dan McStay kicks 3 goals. So how do you bring Charlie West in to replace Buller or McStay? Unless you replace him with Jamie Elliott, who gets managed. But I wouldn't be managing players at this point. We are smack bang in wildcard purgatory heading down. We got Sydney at the SCG on a Friday night. If you thought this loss against Geelong was bad, it's going to be twice as bad against Sydney. But knowing Collingwood, it goes one of 2 ways. It's going to be a classic Collingwood performance, or we are going to get blown to smithereens. There's no in between, unfortunately. Just like the VFL report yesterday, go check it out. I didn't post any stats on the screen for this video. There'll be very little stats to mention, but I will bring up the full-time stats, the team stats here. Minus 14 in disposals. However, it's pretty clear who was more damaging by foot and with ball in hand, handballs, everything, few and far between. That was Geelong. Contested possessions, minus 3, fair, well, pretty much even. But again, Geelong for 4 quarters wanted it more. We wanted it more for certain chunks, certain parts of the game. We win the headouts, but from my eyes, I thought Reece Stanley stood up tall against our rucks in Steen and Cameron. How the fuck does Reece Stanley have a better game over Steen and Cameron combined? I'm still scratching my head on this one. This is why I'm annoyed waking up on a Sunday morning. That's one of many, many factors out of this one. The clearances, centre clearances, stoppage clearances, everything was break even. But just like I said regarding disposal use and efficiency, it's how you use it, and Geelong used it much better. Tackling, plus 10. It's a rare game where we win the inside 50 entries, yet lose by 9 goals. It's not just for Collingwood standards, but it's for AFL standards. It's rare to win inside 50 entries and get smacked by 9 goals. Geelong, 18, 14, 122. I think they had 33 total shots on goal. One was either out on the full. Oh, that was, Tanner Bruhn out on the full, second quarter. 33 scoring attempts from 52 inside 50 entries. So basically, it's a taste of our own medicine in the end. Not as efficient compared to us against Hawthorn last week, but this is sort of where we have to apologise to Hawthorn, where we were so good up the ground and being efficient and converting our chances. We put all our eggs into the Hawthorn basket for no win. A proud effort for sure. And then we dish up this shit against Geelong and we get what we deserve in the end. Efficiency inside 50, 49.2%, which is basically above our season average. But Geelong, 57.7%. It felt a lot cleaner, a lot better by 57.7% standards, I reckon. And goal efficiency, massive point of difference, only 15% for us. 9 goals from 59 inside 50 entries, quite a few junk time goals as well in that final quarter. Geelong, 34 goal or 34% goal efficiency for the game, 18 goals from 52 inside 50 entries. All right, so the stats mentions, just from my eyes, against Geelong, we always get sucked in and they always get us at the back door. Not cheaply, quick transition stuff. It's just They are so professional, so disciplined. They've got their plan A's, their plan B's, their plan C, their plan D against us. And it's not just against us, it's the whole competition. Chris Scott is a very good coach because of that reason. But against us, they always find a way, and this is our fault. I'm putting the hand up here and say it's our fault here. Geelong will convert and make us pay off this, not because of our failing to convert sort of thing. It was bad last year against Geelong. It was worse here, but every time. Now, I haven't seen the round so far on the AFL website. I haven't seen talk shows or Sunday Footy show or anything like that analysing this game so far. I just turned it off at the end of the game. I just didn't want a bar of it, but you're going to notice as well, and if they don't pick this apart, they're not doing their job. And maybe I'll do an analysis video if I'm asked to do this, but you'll find that when Geelong's got the footy in the back half, there'll be 2 or 3 Collingwood players trying to put pressure on that Geelong player. But that Geelong player's got time. So the Geelong player with the ball in hand has 3 Collingwood players swooping in on him, no pun intended. That Geelong player, though, has time. And Geelong are so disciplined, they're so connected. They find that player that's free, and they're able to get that quick transition, get us at the back door, and they've got players everywhere in Geelong's forward 50, and we are exposed in the back half. Darcy Moore goes down with concussion, and our back line gets exposed. We lose the midfield battle. The forward 50 connection went from good, okay to good in the first half, to just shocking. It dropped. It plummeted so fucking badly in that third quarter. That third quarter would have been a whole lot worse, I reckon. So to be in the game at three-quarter time, just a glimmer of hope, but we just failed to convert our set shots. It was almost like we were refusing to kick goals. There was no magnet or lid on the goal line. It was just, these are AFL footballers failing to kick simple set shots. It's baffling. But then the final quarter, similar to the VFL, where Geelong kicks 2 quick goals to start the final quarter, and then it's game over. This wasn't white flag stuff, but the heads were down, just like the VFL. But in the VFL, it was definitely white flag stuff. But in the AFL, it was just almost like, yeah, it's Geelong, yada, 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 we give up sort of thing. And the majority of that final quarter was just, it wasn't witches' hats, but it was just lack of effort everywhere, even for Geelong standards as well. They knew the game was won, so let's just run out the game sort of thing. And I think what's disappointing about this loss was we had Hawthorn last week, Geelong here, and Sydney next week. Of those 3, I thought Geelong was the most winnable one, and yet we've come out and we've lost by 9 goals. We couldn't win against Hawthorn, and now we've got Sydney on top of the AFL ladder, 9 wins, 1 loss at the SCG on a Friday night. And Sydney look a bit shaky, but I can't sit here with confidence and say they're gettable, unfortunately. Sydney, they're due for either a loss or they're due for that big statement win. And yeah, it's going to go one or two ways. It's going to be a classic Collingwood upset win, or Sydney's going to blow us to smithereens. And here we are now. We're licking our wounds. Not just Pendlebury out, being managed to play 4-3-3 against West Coast. He had a good game here against Geelong, but he was one of a handful of players who played well. Jack Buller, best game for us so far. Jordan Ngoe actually played 4 quarters of footy. Didn't have much of an impact in that second half, but that was to be said for everyone. Jeremy Howe, he had a good game by default. What I mean by that was the ball was coming down inside 50 every time, and it felt like every time Geelong got it inside 50, whoever stopped it was Jeremy Howe. I'm not going to say Frampton had a good game, but that was a very interesting battle. The first quarter, he got smacked around by Neil. The second quarter, much better, and then the second half happened. It was null and void, that sort of battle. One of many passages of play that sums up this game. End of third quarter, Lockie Schultz holding it up at half forward, goes inside 50, siren goes, McStay marks it half a second after the siren, and the final quarter, final siren, Geelong kicked that dribbling goal on the siren to win the game by 9 goals. So yeah, that's the duality right there. Geelong were able to kick that goal right on the siren. We failed to do so at three-quarter time. And there was one passage of play in the second quarter that summed this up, and this was probably our curse, where Pendlebury got that hole in the ball free kick, good tackle, kicks that set shot. That build up to that 5th goal, where we got to within 4 points, that was 10 to 15 minutes of hard work for Collingwood. The pressure was immense. Geelong weren't able to get into their forward half. We kicked a few behinds, but it looked good. And that's the first half right there. And that first half had the makings of a classic game. The first quarter was good. The second quarter, not as good, but it was still a good battle. And then the second half happened. But Pendlebury kicks that goal, 10 to 15 minutes of hard work. I texted a mate when we kicked that goal. We can't look vulnerable off that goal. If you watch soccer, you sort of understand that analogy. You're most vulnerable after a goal's been scored. And that's exactly what happened against Geelong here. 10 to 15 seconds later, that centre ball up. Reece Stanley hacks it inside 50. Patrick Dangerfield takes the mark, and Jack Martin kicks the goal. banana goal, whatever. It's just, yeah, all that hard work for nothing. They lead by 10 points at half time, and then they go bang. The pressure went up for Geelong, our pressure went down. And yeah, here we are, 9-goal loss. I'm struggling to get the words out for this sort of review. I'm pissed off. I am pissed off. And we didn't lose this game because of Will Hayes being dropped. I will say that. I saw the comments in the feedback after he got dropped in that team selections final word video. I get it. It's fair enough. I saw the magnets being moved. Ned Long played that defensive forward role on Tom Stewart, which is kind of worse than a tagging role, to be honest. So Ned Long playing on Tom Stewart. He looked good for the first half, and then the second half happened. Quaynor on Ollie Dempsey on the wing. That was a strange move. And side bottom, playing half back. I have no idea what was going on there. Maybe the conversation needs to be had about Steele side bottom. Maybe the end is near for him. And why not just have a youngster play his role? That's where it's getting to for me, where it's side bottoms playing. And surely a youngster can average 10 to 15 disposals a game and look more efficient compared to what side bottom's dishing up right now. It's disappointing, but I know the end is near. So we'll celebrate them for what they are now and the careers they've had. But for trying to make an impact in 2026, and are we going to push for a flag or top six or make any sort of impact in September, late August, wildcard round, whatever? Some massive decisions have to be made for the best 23. Yeah, at least 2 changes. Pendlebury out, managed. Darcy Moore out with concussion. We can't have Darcy Moore, Billy Frampton, and Jeremy Howe playing in the same side, unfortunately. Darcy Moore, Jeremy Howe, Billy Frampton playing in the same side against the Giants. Darcy Moore with a hamstring strain. And here we are now. Darcy Moore with the concussion now. He'll miss Sydney. He'll come back against West Coast. And I'm sure there'll be an injury yet again to either Darcy Moore, Billy Frampton, or Jeremy Howe, either against Sydney or against West Coast, one or the other. And they might get managed against the Dogs, knowing our luck with our backline. The selection speculation, I'll leave that for the preview. Yeah, very disappointing. The whole lot, the whole team, really. Hang your heads in shame. That's, yeah, very disappointing. Few players can hold their heads up high. Everyone else, even Nick Daicos brothers, both of you, but Nick Daicos, 29 disposals, tagged to oblivion, and no impact on the game. 55% disposal efficiency, had no time to make an impact. And I see the Collingwood fans online complaining about Geelong fans booing Nick Daicos with 20 seconds to go. Listen, Collingwood fans, we have a lot more issues than Geelong fans booing Nick Daicos with 20 seconds to go when they're 8 goals up, soon to be 9 goals up, all right? They can do what they want. They paid their ticket. They got their performance. We didn't. And I understand. I totally understand what it means, Carlton fans, to leave games early. You rock up to a game, you don't get what you want, you leave early. I get it. I wasn't at the game, but I'm sure Collingwood fans who attended, who left early, it's justified, all right? And not because they're Collingwood fans, but you come to the footy, you expect a good game and a good performance, and they dish up a good first half and they go to sleep at half time. Yeah, very disappointing stuff. It just dragged on and on and on. But enough waffling and rambling from me. That's all for this video, this review of this shit show, this shit second half against Geelong. Yeah, we'll know next week what we're made of. It's going to confirm a lot of things for us next week against Sydney. Even if we cause an upset win over Sydney, we don't know what Collingwood really is. So, yeah, maybe that's that sort of season for us in 2026 where we don't know what we really stand for or anything like that. It's just, yeah, I don't know what we are. But leave your thoughts down below, your comments, your thoughts on this game, this performance, if you can call it that. Your selection speculations, who do you want in, who do you want out? I can't see any VFL performances warranting AFL selection on Friday nights. Pendlebury, more out. Maybe there's injuries to worry about. We don't know. Moving the magnets, everything few and far between. It's just, yeah, it's a sad performance. It's our 5th biggest loss against Geelong in the last 30 years. And this one sticks out. Recency bias, I know, but that effort, it's the efforts that pisses me off. And Geelong toying with us in that final quarter, just, yeah, really just, it pisses me off. But I'll leave you guys all to it. I hope this result doesn't ruin your weekend, but I do hope you guys have had a good weekend so far. Please be well, try and be safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Up the pies.